Tonight, we're getting a clear picture of President-elect Donald Trump's incoming administration. Trump building out his list of cabinet nominees. So let's break down what we know so far. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz is Trump's nominee for Attorney General. Gaetz has regularly attacked the Justice Department and the FBI, which he would oversee if he's confirmed. The DOJ and FBI investigated Gaetz for possible sex trafficking, but the case ended last year without any charges. He denied any wrongdoing, and after that, Gaetz called for the abolishment of the FBI. Florida Senator Marco Rubio is Trump's nominee for Secretary of State. Rubio is currently the vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee and a member of the Foreign Relations Committee. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is Trump's nominee for Homeland Security Secretary. Noem has a long history of taking hardline positions on immigration. And Fox News host and military veteran Pete Hegseth is Trump's nominee for Secretary of Defense. Hegseth is a combat vet who is a captain in the Army National Guard. He served overseas in Afghanistan and Iraq and started working at Fox in 2014. I'm joined in studio tonight by Logan Gay, who's been talking to a professor at UIndy. So does she see any problems or challenges with these confirmations?
Well, Scott, she says some of these nominations are surprising, like Gaetz for AG, but she expects because the GOP control the Senate that these nominations will go through.
Political expert Laura Wilson says President-elect Donald Trump wasted no time announcing nominations for his incoming cabinet.
And probably part of doing this so early, too, is to get that out there, to get the public enthusiasm, excitement, especially over his supporters, but also to make it very clear for the Senate after the inauguration and after we're beginning a new congressional session with a Republican-led Senate, right? They need to work on those confirmations so those people are in office and they're able to hit the ground running.
She says what makes Trump's second administration's cabinet unique are the names and faces people will recognize.
By selecting these people who are either current or previous elected officials, they're well-known public figures, I think it adds that level of accountability. But typically, the cabinet members have been much more invisible, largely invisible to the public.
Wilson is also paying close attention to the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, which will be led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. She says the co-leaders will have a tight time frame. Trump has given them until July 2026 to fulfill their objectives, including cutting wasteful spending.
Generally, this is a pretty popular idea. A lot of Americans feel like government is unchecked, that there's too much bureaucratic red tape, that there's so much waste and inefficiencies, and it's very expensive. This is actually creating more bureaucracy to check that bureaucracy.
Wilson says although some of the cabinet nominations may be controversial, Trump appears to have a system.
I think the emphasis here in the strategy behind Trump's selections is really looking at loyalty and making sure that he's creating a cabinet with a composition of folks that will agree with his ideology. They're going to follow his America First agenda.
The former president is also pushing to appoint cabinet members when the Senate is in recess, avoiding confirmation votes. I guess time will tell what happens next. In Indianapolis, Logan Gay, 13 News.